guest in the house tonight, recording artist entitled Chyna Nicole. Been listening to a couple tracks from her. Sniper started off with A Thing for You.
Yes.
Yes. Then we got into Jaja's Love, singing a little love song, and you just gave us a sample of a record that I need to hear again. I like how that one sound. But good evening to all our listeners again. Miss Chyna Nicole, introduce yourself for our listeners.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks to Father German. Thank you to everybody affiliated with King Lion Sound, Sniper Movements.
90s
Madden, Bright Light Promotions.
Bright Light Promotions.
Yes.
And everybody here. Yes, I'm Chyna Nicole, and it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here.
Thanks for the shout out.
May 2nd, 2016.
Okay, I know you have a new album that's available now for our listeners to go out and purchase. But before we get into that album, let's find out a little bit more about the artist herself, Miss Chyna Nicole.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you from reading your bio. You are a born New Yorker to Jamaican parents with very rich heritage.
Yes.
So let's start out with who you are and who brought you into this world. Who are your parents?
Wow, okay. So yes, I'm Chyna Nicole. Tanya Nicole Williams is my birth name, born in Harlem, proud. Raised in Connecticut. My mother and my father from Waterhouse, and shortly after they divorced, my father actually relocated to Waterhouse, and he's really the one who inspired me to record on reggae music. I was singing R&B demos, and I went to Howard University. Shout out to my son, actually, who's a student at Howard. But yeah, so I was always singing demos, R&B demos, but it wasn't until my father invited me to sing on a reggae rhythm, because he saw that it was a very big struggle in R&B music. So I went to Jamaica and recorded my first single in 1994, 20 plus years ago, with Lukey D, and under his label, K.L.C.S label. And my father is just well known in that community because he used to DJ on King Tubby Sound, and U-Roy was his mentor. Yeah, and King Jammies, he's around King Jammies, and everybody in that area is very familiar with Carly. So big up to Carly. Carl Williams, Jabi, Jassi, everybody calls him different names. But he really inspired me to sing on reggae music, and the community also accepts me as well as his foreign daughter that come, you know, because I was always the one in the studio, at Jammy Studio, and all around, many studios recording. But it wasn't until recently, 20 years later, that I actually had an album out, and there's been many tribulations throughout that time, just trying to, as a female, just trying to break into reggae. Even though R&B was a struggle, reggae ended up being a struggle also. They loved the voice, but a lot of producers didn't put out the music at that time for whatever reason. I don't know if they could identify with my voice or what, but it's good. Everything is a learning lesson, and I had my first album in 2013 called 20 Years in the Making and Ready for the World. Firehouse crew, predominantly they're from Cockburn Pen, which is near Waterhouse, and my father also knows. They really are the inspiration regarding that album. They did a lot of music tracks on that album, and I have a new album, which you said you were going to talk about later, but
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, it's been a rocky road, you know.
You just touched on your father being a big musical influence in your career.
Definitely.
He has, from what you said, a rich history, musical background.
Yeah.
How was it? Let's start with you going back to Jamaica, working with your father. Is this a decision that he brought to you, or was it something that you requested his help?
He actually came up with the idea, and my brother also, like, Chyna, you need to come to Yard, you need to, you know, this is your voice, you can sing, you need to, you know, we have these rhythms, you need to come and try to make something of it. And I was very excited, so.
Okay.
I was excited. My mother didn't want me to go, but I was very excited. You know, Waterhouse is not like Cherry Hills or, you know, Beverly Hills, Cherry Garden. You know, it's a poverty-stricken area, but it's rich, like you mentioned. I mean, just to name those people that, you know, we're talking about, you know, big legendary producers, big producers, and legendary artists Tabby, who's on my album for the Mighty Diamonds, he's on my album. You talk about Half Pint, Junior Reed. I mean, the list just goes on. I'm like, so many people, I can't even name so many people from Waterhouse that is legendary and iconic in their own right. You know?
Okay. How is it working with a parent in the studio?
Yeah. Good question.
Are lines being crossed, or is it a strictly professional work relationship and he allows you to do what you want as an artist?
He definitely inspired me, allowed me to use my musical creativity, my writing skills, and I had people to guide me along the way because, you know, R&B, you can do like a lot of riffs and runs, and reggae music, it's all about the vibe and the energy. So I credit Wrong Move, which is a keyboard, they call him Wrong Move, but his real name is Paul Crosdale, who really taught me how to sing on reggae rhythms outside of my father. I mean, he'd be in the studio with me, yeah man, sing, all right, breathe, rocks, you know, 1, 2, yeah, sing, you know. So the relationship with my father was wonderful, but to add to that, I also had to work very hard to get my voice, you know, seasoned the way it is on reggae.
Okay, we have interviewed artists in the past that have crossed over to different genres. They have done R&B and reggae as well, but you are the first artist that I noticed pointed out the difference in the genres and the difference in recording the music. Let's go a little bit deeper into that since you brought it up. And as an artist who you said you started recording on R&B demos, but then you started working with trained professional producers in reggae music.
Yeah.
What is the actual difference when you go into that booth, when you step into that booth? What are the differences expected of you to complete?
It's like boot camp, you know. I don't really like to exercise, but I do if I have to. It's boot camp. I mean, no mistakes. You know, back then it was real to real, and even, you know, in the 90s in America, New York, wherever, they were still able to kind of patch things, but in my training, it was straight through. I mean, if you made a mistake, you would have to start all over. So in that sense, it was boot camp for me, and important. And that's why, you know, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to ensuring that the harmonies, the vocals, you know, I'm really into that because I was taught by some of the best people, in you know, in my realm. That's how I look at Firehouse Crew, because they are a great band and all-around musicians. So, in that sense, yeah, it was no joke.
Okay. You went back to Jamaica to actually start your recording career, but from what I've learned, you've done other things on the ground in Jamaica.
Yes.
Yes. Let's get into that for a brief moment.
Sure.
You've worked on some of the biggest radio stations in Jamaica as an on-air personality.
Yes.
What made you step away from the music and actually pursue a radio career?
Well, my major at Howard University was broadcasting, and my minor was education. And when I went to Jamaica originally I went to record an album, but that didn't happen. Budget, you know, and all that's kind of all those battles that you deal with in the music industry. So it was a friend from Waterhouse who actually directed a video, Movie Star Love, which is out now. Take Me to the Moon was on my first album. He came, he's from Waterhouse also, so big up to Stereo Belly. He came to me, and my father was like, listen, you have a degree, you say you love Jamaica. I fell in love with Jamaica. I wanted to stay, I didn't want to come back to New York. And he said, you're looking for, you know, broadcasters. And he took me around, and I got the job like instantly. You know, they heard me speak, they were fascinated with my voice, but yet, you know, I go back and forth into the little, you know, lingo or whatever. They like that kind of vibe, and I have a good sense of music, so it worked out. I was able to stay on the station initially when they first opened. Some of the disc jocks are actually still there and go between IRE FM and Zip FM, and became very popular in that time period. Okay,
you also worked with the entertainment report as well, I've heard.
RATV, I did some work, some footage, coverage of Rebel Salute. I did a couple commercials. I did a couple of things in Jamaica. Not entertainment report though, but several entertainment buzz. Maybe you mean? Yeah, entertainment buzz. Yeah, with Ron Michette. Yeah.
Okay, so now we have you on the other side of the mic tonight, and you were the one being interviewed. Okay, so the debut album
Yeah.
came out in 2013.
Yes.
Okay, what was the feedback from the initial debut album?
It was very positive. It was on a chart, several charts, and these are, wonderful radio people like yourselves who have their charts and who are credible in their own right. Several charts, and I had a manager at the time. Big up to Fitzroy Francis. He made sure that that album was visible to really viable people in the industry like Clinton Lindsay. He used to have the Tamika Awards back in the 80s. Maybe it's before your time, but he's very knowledgeable and has a credible chart. So my album made that chart as well as other charts too. I was top female vocalist, top 5 female vocalists with that album. So it got into some hands, and this album was unexpected. I know we didn't ask about this album, but it just opened up a doorway to say, wait a minute, who is this? There's something there, Even though everything wasn't live on that album, it's more of a lover's rock kind of album, but it opened up some doors, definitely. For me.
And what was the name of your debut release?
20 Years in the Making and Ready for the World. And it was named by Clinton Lindsay also, the broadcaster who used to be on WLIB back in the day, who's still on here now.
Okay, so for our listeners now, if you're looking out for the earlier works of Miss Nicole, you can go to iTunes and purchase her earlier works.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Sniper to actually play that record he started off playing it.
Half Empty by Black Scorpio?
Yes, that Half Empty record.
Big up the Black Scorpio record.
Okay, don't get ahead of me. We're gonna discuss production. I'm feeling that record. TGM Radio. I like that record.
Thank you.
I like those records where you can get on one of those old rhythms and actually make it sound like it should be with the original release.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Big record, big rhythm, produced by the legendary
Black Scorpio Records.
Okay. Do you know Jack personally?
Yes, I do. Big up to Jack Scorpio. It's like a pop in the business.
It makes sense because Jack being from Waterhouse.
He's from near Waterhouse, actually.
That's his area.
Yeah, near Waterhouse. Headley Avenue around here.
Okay, so you, how did that record come about?
I begged him. You mentioned the old rhythms, and I love Barrington Levy and Sanchez. They're on that rhythm. And that's the era I grew up. So I just love listening to that. I used to be in the clubs with my mother at a very early age. I shouldn't have been in the clubs actually, but I was there listening to those rhythms and dancing. And I was like, please, I need to go on that rhythm. And he sent it to me.
Did you just say Act 3?
Yeah, I did. You know about that one?
Wow, brought back memories. Yeah, showing my age now. But
we were young.
shout out to the legendary Jack Scorpio once again.
Big up Jack Scorpio.
Did you request that particular rhythm? Or?
I did.
Okay.
I requested that rhythm.
What was his initial reaction when you requested one of his big rhythms?
The vibe was nice because I met him at a video shoot. It was another artist video shoot. And, he said he heard my record, another track that I have on my first album with Chuck Turner on a Bunny Striker Lee rhythm, Hardcore Love. And he said he liked it. And I was like, really, I would love to work with you. We just kind of networked from that video shoot. And he said he's thinking about putting out the She's Mine rhythm. I was like, please, can I go on that? And he really made it happen. Sometimes you meet people and sometimes it doesn't really come to fruition, but it did. And I'm so blessed to have that song on my album too. It's a release. He released it under his label, but I asked if it can go on my album. After my father was like, listen, you have enough songs to make another album, reach out. And I let my father talk to Jack Scorpio, and the magic is here. It's on my album, Mystic.
So once again, that's the record entitled Half Empty by Miss Chyna Nicole, produced by the legendary Jack Scorpio.
Yes.
You've also worked with him on some of his other big rhythms as well.
Yes.
One of my favorite rhythms, the Lazy Body rhythm. You also have a current single bubbling on that.
Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit. We're not going to get into that record now because we have a lot of music to play, but tell us a little bit about that record and let the fans know that they can also go out on iTunes and pick up that record now as well.
Yes, they can pick up Half Empty on Black Scorpio's label or my album Higher, and Sweet Dreams on Lazy Body Rhythm. Once he heard Half Empty, he was coming out with another rhythm, and he sent it to me, and big up to his son, Spider Stretch, and I voiced it here in New York and sent it to Jamaica, the session to Jamaica, and they mixed it there. And he was like, how did you come up with that? And I was like, You mentioned that's your favorite rhythm. That's one of my father's favorite rhythms too. And I was like, I gotta bring it. So I thought about doing a cover. You know, so I blended some original lyrics with the cover. So big up to Eurythmics as well.
Okay. He recently re-released that rhythm. So for our listeners out there, you could go out and check out Black Scorpio production of the Lacy Body Rhythm, the Relic. He has some of the old records on it. He also has some of the new records on it. I believe he re-voiced Beanie Man on the rhythm.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of up-to-date artists on that rhythm as well, including Miss Chyna Nicole. And special surprise for the listeners in the house, Sniper has the record. So, he has the rhythm.
You guys have the records.
We have the record in here, but again, there's so many records that we want to touch today. We're gonna bypass that one. Shout out to Jack Scorpio though.
There you go.
Okay. You linked with Jack Scorpio to work on the album Higher.
Yes.
So we're gonna get into a little bit about that album now, because he is not the only legendary producer that I've seen with credits on this album.
Correct.
You also worked with Sly and Robbie.
Yes, big up to Sly and Robbie and the Taxi Gang.
Okay.
Yami Bolo.
Again, another legendary production house.
Mm-hmm.
And on the album, you also have Yami Bolo.
Big up.
Is Chuck Turner on the album as well?
He is. He's on the first album and this album. Big up to Chuck Turner.
Okay.
Like a
He
father.
is an artist who has been very instrumental in your career.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what Chuck Turner has done for Chyna Nicole, the artist, and how it has helped you so far in your career.
Yes. After 1994, when I recorded the record with my father under the Little C label, I came back to New York, you know, feeling a little defeated, like, okay, my records are not bubbling like they should. And Chuck just took me around. He took me around to Studio One in New York. At the time, they had a record shop. He took me to Philip Smart Studios. He took me to Rhythm One Studios, to be a studio in Queens on Jamaica Avenue. So he really just took me around to the New York circuit and ensured that I was able to still record and, you know, keep my creativity alive. So I really appreciate him for that.
Okay, so you credited him with reinvigorating your career.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are some of the words that he offered you as a recording artist who was doing it before you and seeing the struggle you had with your initial debut? What kind of words did he offer to you to get you back into that booth?
I remember Chuck will say something like, you know, I don't care what it is, you know, if the rhythm don't sound good, don't go on it, you know. Don't go on no rhythm that don't sound good. So that's one of the jewels I took from Chuck that still resonates. Big up to Chuck Turner.
Okay.
The rhythm has to be right, in other words. You know.
I appreciate Chuck motivating you, because here we have you today,
Thank you.
giving us this beautiful music.
Thank you.
Let's get into the album now. The new album released last month, April.
Yes. April 1st.
April 1st.
Yes.
Entitled Higher.
Yes.
It's available now on iTunes or digital platforms.
Yes.
We've touched on a couple of tracks already on the album.
Yes.
We spoke about some of the production on the album. But tell us a little bit more of the entire body of work. What is the feel that our listeners will get when they go out and purchase Miss Chyna Nicole's album?
Well, conceptually, I wanted to bring across that black women are queens. You know, I hear a lot of hip hop. I love hip hop. I grew up to hip hop, but a lot of derogatory language. So I wanted them to see a black queen on a cover, and that's why. And I want them to really identify when they look at on the download and they see a picture like, oh, that looks like me. I'm a queen. So I really wanted to bring up across black royalty with this album creatively. I didn't know I was going to have an album. I was still promoting the first one in 2013 until when I was in Jamaica just a couple months ago. My father said, you have enough tracks to make another album. And I'm like, really? And we already was working on our own production, my father and I's production with Sly and Robbie. And then he said, reach out to all the producers. So that's kind of how the album came together. Really a concerted effort with all the producers saying, yes, give it a go. They're still going to release their own single, but yeah, man, put it on your album. So that's how it came about, and the quality of the producers speak for itself. Like you mentioned, Sly Dunbar, Robbie Shakespeare, Grammy Award winners, of course, Taxi Gang, Dean Frazier, Michael Buffalo Wall, Dalton Brownie, Lanky, Yami Bolo, who's an instrumentalist also. He produced that track on the album with me. Well, I just wrote it, he produced it. Computer Paul, who's also a Grammy nominee, he came up with a lot of rhythms. I mean, if you look at Computer Paul's, credits. So there are a lot, and then some upcoming producers. I love the young talent, Friends for Real out of Tower Hill, Natty Power Records, Chilla Clark. I don't want to forget anybody, but some new talent is on the album too, as apart from the veteran people. So it's a nice mixture and it's diverse too.
Okay. How did the combination of you and Yami Bolo come about? That's an artist who's very secluded. He does not record with people that often. How did you get Mr. Yami Bolo into the studio?
You mentioned some really poignant things. That's true. Well, Yami and I were friends, and we met at a rehearsal, Black Rose rehearsal. We were booked for the same show a couple of years ago, and we reconnected at a coronation. And he knew I can sing, and just from that rehearsal, and he said, I'd like to produce you. It was really that simple. And you're right, he's very particular as far as who he works with. And he took me to the studio like the next day. Really, we were literally in the studio. He had his guitar and he said, sing something. I'm very bad at freestyling, but I'm a writer more so. So I started writing something and I started singing, and he said, I like that word complicated. Build your song around that word. And I was like, all right. And the rest is history. It was really that. I mean, the song wasn't done overnight. We worked on it a couple of months, went back to the studio, that kind of thing. But it was just that simple, that chemistry.
Okay.
Musically.
So far we've went down a list of legendary producers. We've mentioned some big name artists. You have another record that's currently bubbling it's not on the Higher album, but it's getting a lot of press out here. It's bubbling. It features the artist Determined.
It's actually Determined featuring me. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's Determined featuring you.
Yes.
So Determined reached out to Miss Chyna Nicole.
Yes.
You're
right. I know him also. I know a lot of artists just from being in the business, and he's like a brother. And John Dingo's a producer. He took me to a studio, and big up to John Dingo, hot producer. Out of Miami and New York, and we recorded that record, and we're shooting a video. I just shot my part of the video. Pretty Butterfly is the name of it. It's like little hip hop twist. Oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
Like hip hop, reggae, dancehall, trap. That whole new age kind of whatever.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna let the listeners get a glimpse of this mashup between Determined and Miss Chyna Nicole. Once again, the record is entitled Pretty Butterfly. Aptly entitled.
On iTunes too.
It's available on iTunes. The video is coming soon. TGM Radio King Line Caribbean Showcase. Pretty Butterfly.
Determined alongside Chyna Nicole.
Single available now on iTunes. Determined featuring Chyna Nicole, entitled Pretty Butterfly.
Thank you.
You described the song as a mashup between genres of music.
What do you think?
You sound straight R&B on the record.
I do.
Yes. Beautiful voice. Once again, nothing wrong with that. Determined.
Thank you.
He is an artist that I've known he gets on hip hop beats and stuff like that. So it makes sense hearing the record. I like when artists cross over to different genres and try to pull a different audience into our little something called reggae music. But again, another strong single. It's available now on iTunes, Amazon, all digital platforms. So go out and cop that. But the artist of the moment, Miss Chyna Nicole. You have talked about legendary producers working with legendary artists. What else has that done for your career? Have you been able to actually go out, do shows, tour with some of these artists we've been speaking about so far?
I did one show, it was Junior Reed's show. Yami Bola was on that show, I was on the show, Determined was on the show, and that was last year in the Bronx. As far as people that I've worked with. And I've opened up for several people.
Big
Third
names?
World, Melba Moore, Maxi Pree. But I'm still always looking to get more bookings. You know, it's definitely difficult. But I think the music is going to just kind of seep into souls slowly, and the bookings will come.
Yes, hopefully with our help here at Kingline Caribbean Showcase, we reach a couple more fans
Yeah,
that will go out and purchase that beautiful music you're making right now.
thank you.
Where are some of the places that your talents has taken you so far in your career?
Well, early on, I toured with Mikey Spice, Frankie Paul, Ken Booth. That was in Europe and Canada. That was the furthest. I haven't reached Japan. I would love to go to Japan, Africa.
Was that the tour that included Nadine Sutherland as well?
No, that show was here in Brooklyn actually. That was last year. Yeah.
Okay. You had a chance to do shows with artists such as Nadine
Nadine
Sutherland.
Sutherland, Itana,
Yes.
you're beautiful artists, singers, vocalists, yeah.
Being in a male-dominated genre of music, have these artists offered any words of advice to you when you've had the chance to meet with them?
I think when when you do a show, you go to rehearsals, and it's really just about getting, your mind on that. But just listening to their story, different stories, different interviews, and that kind of thing, and listen to not only people that I happen to have a show with or I work with, just listen to, even Prince. I just learned from their legacy, listening to people like that, Michael Jackson,
R.I.P. to
Bob
Prince.
Marley,
R.I.P. to Prince.
R.I.P. for real.
Since you brought him up, I'll ask you one question about that artist. Prince was known as a very musical artist. He studied instruments and stuff.
Right.
What did you learn from watching Prince as an artist?
I learned from Prince just to be confident, to be resilient, and to try to master your craft. He was a genius. I mean, he is a genius. I think the world just can look at his legacy and just take that. Be yourself. And he opened up doors for entrepreneurs to have your own masters, and just to ensure you look at the business side of the industry, not just the artist side. And that, there's no limit. I think he definitely symbolized, no limits.
Okay. And staying on the performance tip, you're based in New York City. The album is newly minted, fresh out,
Yeah.
April 1st.
Yes.
Go out and cop that album higher.
Yes.
Do you have any shows planned anywhere that our listeners could come out and
Yes.
see you live?
Gary has that information. There's a show in Brooklyn on May 18th. I don't have that information.
Gary,
But
don't need that info.
the show is in a couple weeks in Brooklyn. Big up to Chilla Clark. I look forward to. I'm gonna make sure it's on the social network. But
Okay, we have some time
Yeah.
here. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna get to the music.
Movie star love?
We're gonna get to the music, so we're gonna give you a chance to come back and give us the full details on that show.
All right.
Once again, the album High is in stores now. Sniper, you got something else for the
Movie
listeners?
star love.
Yes, Movie Star Love. Before you squeeze that record, you can go out now and see the visual for this song that we're about to play. The video is on YouTube now. Miss Chyna Nicole. The record entitled Movie Star Love. I actually enjoyed watching this video earlier.
Thank you.
We're gonna get into the video after Sniper plays this record, but once again, TGM Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase.
There can only be one me.
TGN Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase. Song entitled Movie Star Love. Video available now on YouTube. Song is on the new album once again entitled Higher. You can go out and purchase that album now on iTunes. I enjoyed looking at the video. I enjoy when an artist actually takes time and work on their visuals. The video we're speaking about, it has an actual storyboard to the video. Tell us a little bit about the video and what's going on in the video.
Thank you. So we're remembering stars. Freddie McGregor's mansion that's where it was shot, most of it, and his studio, Big Ship Studios. And you have this huge wall of all the celebrities that he's known and worked with. Bob Marley, Bunny Wailer, Marcia Griffiths, Freddie McGregor. So it was just nice to have that as a twist, movie star love, to kind of appreciate all the stars. And then we also added, the actual young people behind the track who built the track, who, recorded me singing at Friends for Real Studios in Tower Hill.
Shout out to Friends for Real. That's the homies right there.
Yeah, Jerry Music, Friends for Real, big up.
Yes. Link up that studio if you're looking for any work in Jamaica too. I'm fully endorsed by the Kingline Caribbean Showcase team.
Wow, big love.
Okay, let's go. The album, once again, it's in stores now. You are performing May 18th in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
At Trelawney Place.
Yes.
That's 1440 Utica Avenue. So for the listeners who would like to come out and witness this talent live, feel free to stop in. Once again, Trelawney Place, 1440 Utica. The date is May 18th. Miss Chyna Nicole will be gracing the stage.
Thank you. Yes, I look forward to it.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking forward to. If you've never saw our show before, check out the YouTube page, Kingline Caribbean Showcase. You can tune in here every Monday, TGM Radio. But for the first time listeners, we have a thing that we do every Monday. DJ Sniper finds a classic rhythm, and we have the artists feature their talent live in the studio. And that time has come.
Nice. Give me Love You Forever. I want Love You Forever. Requesting. Okay. Hey, I remember when we used to laugh and play. And even when the skies weren't blue and misty turned to gray, yeah, I remember when we come home every night. We talk about the things we did, make love to the morning light, to the morning light. We used to make love to the morning light. It feels like you don't love me anymore, like love don't live here right inside our home. I don't want you to leave, without you I will be empty. Need your loving to fill me. Memories of you and me, dressing up for the world to see. Now you don't go nowhere with me, and we don't talk no intimacy like we used to be. It feels like half empty.
Bop.
Of you and me, baby, definitely is true. Oh, honey, baby, never did we anticipate this true love story. And all we got is time to treat each other right. Ooh, I can't explain it. You make me feel like, ooh. just write some beautiful songs. This is by Studio One. I need to sit down. Tickle me once more, tickle me twice. Your sugar and spice makes everything nice. Love me forever and I'll be true to you, boy. You are an angel and you're so divine. Yes, you are an angel and you're mine, oh mine. Just love me forever and I'll be true to you, boy. Eat. Go up. Thank you.
I'm speechless right now. I love those old rhythms first and foremost.
Thank you.
And hearing a beautiful voice on it just makes it all much better.
Classic rhythms.
Classic rhythms. Speaking of classic rhythms, shout out to the artist Barrington. He in the house tonight. Check out that new video he got on thepowerofreggae.com entitled Amazing. Amazing Song, to be exact. Shout out to Mr. Barrington in the studio once again. Shout out to Johnny Go Figure in the studio as well. Check out his new record online entitled Public Housing. The movement is moving. Once again, was a pleasure, Miss Chyna Nicole.
Great honor.
The album in stores now entitled Higher. You heard some of this beautiful music that she's putting out there. I encourage you to go out and purchase the album. Go out and purchase those singles as well she's working on. Pretty Butterfly, Determined featuring Miss Chyna Nicole. And the Higher album. Fresh release, new music, beautiful music for the summertime, for the winter, for the fall. I appreciate you passing through the program, showing the love. Anything else you want to tell the listeners before we tune out tonight?
You know, you mentioned Prince, so why not just end it with that? Be limitless in whatever you do. Try to master your craft. And thank you so much, you know, King Lion Sound, Father German, yourself, Madden, and Sniper Movements, everyone who's here supporting me, Gary Sutherland, and just support Chyna Nicole, independent artist. I have 2 albums now on iTunes and Amazon and CD Baby. I switched to CD Baby. And you know, just keep positive music flowing, you know, and remember that.
Okay, shout out to you, your entire family. It's a pleasure having you once again. Shout out to your pops for actually.
Shout out to my father.
Yes, shout out to pops for working with
Pops.
you and getting you to this point where you at now.
Shout out to God, of course.
Yes.
His Majesty completes me for real. Can't do nothing without the Father. So.
Shout out to your son out there in Howard. Shout out to the whole
Shout out to my
Howard
baby.
University.
My son Nico and my whole family.
Okay, before we tune out, once again, endless records that just sound so soulful and beautiful. We're gonna leave you out with another one from the Higher album. This one is entitled His Majesty Completes Me.
Thank you.
This is how we're gonna complete this show today. King Lion Caribbean Showcase, TGM Radio, Miss Chyna Nicole.